Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending from where you are watching us today. My name is Peter, and I'm going to be your presenter for the next 20 or 30 minutes. So we'll see. I know we're a little bit ahead of schedule, but we have some backup plans prepared. So no worries about that. We'll be right on time. So before we start, I would like to ask to just ping me in chat, tell me if indeed there are any issues with the audio and the volume. If for some reason you cannot hear me well, or if you cannot see my screen, just signal me so we can take the necessary precautions and measures, right? Apart from that, it's about time to, as Daniel said, to add some sugar spice, all things nice, on this little application that we're building today and tomorrow by sprinkling some Kendo UI flavors on top of that. Right, so this is going to be the agenda for today, adding a few components on the UI layer of the app. But before that, allow me please to spend a few minutes doing some introductions with regards to what we do and actually what Kendo UI is. Otherwise, it wouldn't make much sense. You would agree just to start coding. And also, I would like to use this time frame till I am pulling the latest and greatest from the repo. And let me check in the meantime what is the situation there, so we can get started with it. All right, I'm bringing up the commit here. All right, guys, good. Kendo UI, you can see on my screen. By the way, during this session today, at the moment and while we code and add those components to the UI layer, I'm also going to switch a lot between Kendo UI online documentation. It's extremely rich and it is quite interactive, meaning that it allows you to easily get started with the UI components themselves, or to go to some very advanced scenarios and stuff up until to the level of the full APIs that are exposed for each of the components there. So you will see me quite often switching context between the website and Visual Studio Code and GitHub and Notepad++ and maybe Paint and so on and so forth. Right, let's move forward now in order not to waste too much time. So Kendo UI is a commercial library that consists of several flavors depending on the JavaScript flavors that are there, whether it's Vue, Angular, React, or jQuery. But now our main focus is on Vue, Kendo UI for Vue flavors. So it's a commercial library of how many do we have as of today? Around 100 native components, UI components, built from the ground up for Vue, which work flawlessly on Vue 2 and Vue 3, and would allow you to build your highly performant, beautifully styled, accessible, and of course feature-rich apps that exist out there. We're not going to go over all of the components because this is not the time for presentation. It is time for coding and building up a beautiful UI layer. But I would spend a few more minutes outlining some of the features we are proud of. I'm personally proud of. The team here in Progress is proud of with regards to our stack of components called Kendo UI for Vue. And talking about the team, hands up, shout out for the development team of Kendo UI Vue. Actually, the majority of them are here with us on the backstage. They are talking to you guys on Discord. They're here to support us if everything goes wrong into the chat. So again, hi team, one more time, and nice to work with you today as well. And talking about teamwork and support and collaboration, please note, as I like to say a lot, this little catchphrase that we don't outsource. We are the source of knowledge, meaning that you and I guys can continue our collaboration and communication even after this hackathon and this project is over, because myself and the guys, we are the ones who develop the product and we're the one who maintain it, and we're the ones who are going to talk to you if you need any help or assistance or support during your usage of the Kendo UI stacks. So I'll be happy to be in touch with you, and I challenge you to test our response times and the quality of our responses in the support. Right. As promised, just to finish the introduction of the Kendo UI suite here, I'll bring up just a few of those hundreds components here, some of the heavy guns that I would like to quickly present in our through the online demos. By the way, all of those online demos that you see here, they are available at telerik.com/KendoVue UI, and these are interactive, fully functional demos. You can see them on the website. You can open them in Stackblades or Code Sandbox, and you can play with them, modify them even further, and see how we have built them. Actually, the source, the code behind each of the scenario of the components usage is here, and you can see how it works. Copy paste it or just enjoy it. This is how the grid looks like with the plethora and the majority of its features. I tried to count them. They're above 100, so there is absolutely no use of myself going through all of those features. But I would really like to outline and underline here that you have a fully functional grid that can be at any point of time very easily support different grouping with the corresponding aggregates here that would be available if you apply the grouping. Like this is the overview demo that I'm using here for the grid, where you can enjoy that. Sorting, filtering, no need to mention that these are options that come out of the box up until the export to Excel or to the PDF that you can directly use here. What I wanted to bring your attention to mostly is a little bit challenge, another challenge for you guys. And I dare you to change my mind or to prove me wrong that the Kendo UI for Vue Grid is one of the, if not the quickest or the highest performant in isolated environment, of course, grid on the Vue world out there. I don't know, perhaps you can change my mind. This little challenge for you. And talking about performance, you can utilize so many features like the column and the row virtualization here, including paging or not. And we just released, by the way, another interactive demo where you can instantly load 100,000 items in the grid and switch between virtual scrolling here or paging, and see how this sandbox will suit your needs there. Right. When talking about those features, some other cool stuff and benefits that you get with Kendo UI for Vue out of the box are shared features, which come for you. And first and foremost, this is styling and themes. And while we switch to the actual demo and building of the app, let me see what's happening with the app and if it can be run properly at the moment. So let's see. So while we are doing the demo also, we'll play a little bit with the styling and stuff. But let me tell you that with Kendo UI for Vue, you get inside 3 ready-to-use online themes that you can use. A default one that we have built for you, a Bootstrap theme, and a material theme. Like those look like that. You can see them with our online theme editor, which is totally free and accessible for everyone. So if I switch to Kendo UI for Vue, I can start theming and I can select one of the themes here. And also they are available on each of the grid demos. You can switch between the 3 main themes, right? And also the theme variations or swatches, like for example, the main theme, the dark theme, or the blue ocean theme, if you're talking about accessible design. And talking about accessibility and stuff, this is also a shared feature that comes with all of your Kendo UI for Vue components. We are compatible with the most popular standards and policies that exist out there, whether it's going to be Section 508 or WCAG 2.1 and stuff, way area, and so on and so forth. So each of the components is tested against those standards to provide the result from 1A to 3.8 to make
Do you hear us on the stage?
Say again?
Okay, now you can hear us on the stage. You can hear me now, right?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I've been trying to reach you on the stage. In fact, we do have the code base from Daniel Kelly ready to go for you, so you can start the live coding when you are ready.
Is it? Perfect.
Yeah, I think Daniel might want to show something or to recap for everybody to be on the same link.
Let's do it. No problems.
Okay.
Are you going to switch to Daniel right now, or?
No, you can keep the screen. Daniel will just recap the state, and we can continue from the latest commit from the boilerplate, and then you can start live coding.
All right.
Okay, awesome. Have fun.
So we have. All right, good.
Hey Peter, I am going to Slack that link to you to the project code, and if you could just pull down from there, you should be able to start rolling with the coding.
Hold on, let me just check a few. So you just sent it in the chat, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let me see. I'm going to use my other monitor. So what do we have here? The components, a button, up image, board card. Okay, just give me a few seconds to prepare it, and we'll go.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, GitHub. Okay. Okay. 1 second. If not, as I said, we like to be prepared. So I have a backup project here and backup one, so we can work on it. And I'm pretty sure that then we can easily commit it. So no worries about that. We got you fully prepared. Awesome. I just want to see if I can pull everything latest and greatest.
Well, you rock, Peter. Thank you for doing this.
I'm just going to check. Okay, sure. Okay, I want to discard this. I'm not going to commit it for you. Okay. All right, it seems some juice is coming up into my project. And okay, Daniel. So you can see my screen.
Awesome. I can, yeah. If you will navigate to
this one, yeah.
If you'll navigate to the /boards route.
Okay. Yeah, we are all up and running. Okay, so let's bring up some action here. So what we are gonna do, by the way, you can see my Visual Studio code, right?
I can. I'm gonna leave you to it, Peter. You just holler.
All right, everything is fine, infrastructure-wise. All right, so we have a few minutes left to quickly add 3 components of Kendo UI for Vue, which are going to be the drawer and some buttons in order to make you switch teams and to log in, log out. Right, and this beautiful paint screenshot will show you what we're trying to achieve finally during our session. Here, I'm going to start adding the buttons here and the pop-up component, and then we'll populate the drawer with a few items inside, so we can route through 3 pages at 3 pages: the boards, the templates page that I'm going to create, and the settings page that I'm going to create. We'll see how we are with the time. I know we're a little bit ahead. So as discussed, while we were waiting, I prepared and I tried to separate my code into blocks, which I'll directly copy paste, so we are on track and we don't get too much ahead into the session. So we got you covered. All right, so first and foremost, when you start with Kendo UI components, you need to make sure that you have all the necessary references, and Dan has already done this for us. Here, I'm just double checking to make sure everything is fine. All the dependencies are here. Kendo UI components come as individually scoped NPM packages, so you can get only what you want, right? If you want only to get the buttons, get them. If you want to get the editor or the grid or the pop-up, get it. You don't need the entire stack of the hundreds components. In the quick tip and trick, you can always see also at the moment, guys, what you have installed on your machines if you check at the node modules and if you see what's happening here at progress. So I pretty much have everything here, right? I have the licensing file, I have the themes, I have all the stuff ready. So the first order of business would be to go into the components. By the way, Dan already did the overview, how we structure the application and what we are going to use. So I'm going to follow these guides, starting with adding the navbar into the components, right? I'm going to call it the navbar. And it is not a separate component, right? It is a combination of a few components that we are going to use for the sake of our exercise. As we mentioned at the beginning, the navbar will consist of a pop-up component, which is going to be called my theme, and which will switch between the different themes inside, and a logout button that will exist as a placeholder at the moment. As the hackathon proceeds with the other sessions, you would be able to relate the logout button to the actual data and see how it's going to work and action. Right, so we have created the navbar. At the moment, we are going to use the TypeScript syntax. So quickly, I'm going to do this. What is going to happen now is that I'm going to leave it empty or just populate it as we go. I also use the template empty. Don't mind my syntax here. I'm just doing it for the sake of better screen sharing. Let me know if I need to zoom in or zoom out a little bit here. So the template will also be empty for the time being, and I'll do it like that. First and foremost, we need to import the necessary components here. And it is important to know that from syntax point of view, we recommend, actually you can name them as you wish, right? Or you can leave them buttons, but in order to differentiate from the standard button, I would suggest to define the Kendo buttons as K in front as Kendo, for example. And the same would be valid for the pop-up, right? So I'm going to import the pop-up as K pop-up, and so on and so forth. We don't have any routing here for the buttons and for the pop-ups. So the only remaining thing that I need to import is the ref. And we would be ready to go and define our components globally into the components DTS file. Let me just save it. So once we have the buttons now in the script, right, I'm going to go to my components and make sure it is already there, but make sure that the navbar and later on the drawer are declared here, where we declare the global types into the components.d.ts folder, right? Which means that I would not need to have anything into the app view folder in the scripts section of it, I would need to change the default router to first it is the navbar, and later on it would be, I would add the drawer as we progress further from top to bottom, excuse me, on our page. Right. So once we have done this, and let me save, make sure everything is saved. So we are good to go. We'll proceed building up the buttons, because now there is absolutely nothing. If we try to see, I'm still on my app, as you can see. So far, nothing will appear. Now we will proceed. As I promised, I already separated the code into chunks for the sake of saving some time. So I'll declare this guy here, leave it commented, show themes, and I'll give it a false ref. Okay, later on we're going to reuse it. So we'll continue with the template and populate it further. And let me bring up the template here. As you know already, and as you have seen from the first exercise, we are heavily relying on Tailwind CSS for it. So the way we have decided to build it here, and actually you can style it as you wish. All right, we have some flex here justified between, which would mean that if we use this syntax here with the justified between flex.
Hi Peter,
yes,
can you hear me?
tell me.
Hey, this is going
Yes.
on amazing. Can you zoom in a bit on the screen so that people can read the code a bit
Absolutely,
more?
yes.
Yeah.
Let me know if
maybe one more time would be better.
One more time.
Okay.
And I'll decrease the terminal a little bit.
Cool, I think. Thank you so much. Please
Of
go
course.
on.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so the way we're doing it, as I said, in styling this with in using Flex for the styling, is that the justify between would mean that when you go here in those three components, actually we have two components, which is the button, the pop-up, and the logo, will be justified between each other, right? And you see how it would work, because down there, I'll put the image, the Vue Forge logo, the button, and the pop-up. Right. Kendo UI for Vue works perfectly with any third-party utility libraries and helpers, so feel free to use it, or feel free to use something else that works for you. I don't want to tell you how to style and how to write your CSS, so feel free to do it whatever you like. Right. I'm also adding the on-click event here, which will show the different, which will switch between the different themes on the button. And basically that's it. What is remaining is to add the pop-up template. Right. And the pop-up template, the pop-up is a component in Kendo UI. Let me just bring it. And I'm pretty sure I need to close diffs here. So the pop-up template, the pop-up is general, displays some content based on anchor, right? And I promised to switch between context. Here you can see the full properties and APIs of the pop-up element. You can check it from yourselves, see how we use them. Right, so what I have done here is displaying content in terms of theme 1 and theme 2 for the pop-up click. Right, and it's time to remove the comments on this, and I think we should be up and running now. Let's see. Do we have something to display? My other screen, and let's see what we have built. Wait, right. Okay. Also, while I'm doing that on my other screen, what is not? Let me just here. I'm sorry. I'm going to zoom out on my other screen to see the error that appears, so I can quickly fix it. And I'm going to switch to this. In the meantime, just give me a second and we'll be there. So what is false show teams? Okay. Okay. Yeah, of course. There we go. All right. So we have the buttons up and running. Bring it up on my screen with the complete zoom in. Then, by the way, I played a little bit with the theming and the styles of the buttons, what I showed you at, what I promised to do at the beginning. We introduced new properties here, which you can use. You can make the shape of the button rounded or switch between rectangles or squares, for example, and change those properties of the buttons on the go. I also added a logout button, which a logout icon, sorry, which was not part of the initial exercise, but you can see how it is. All the icons are shared between all the Kendo UI flavors, so you can reuse them and enjoy them, right? And also I changed the cover. Now it would be a circular button. I changed the color of the logout button so it matches the color of the Vue.js Forge logo that we have here. Right. I'm going to remove the shape back to rectangle and round it a little bit, and we have this smooth little button up in there. All right. Good. And I think we are good to go with using, importing, and applying the button and the My Theme pop-up here. Now, what follows is that I'm going to try in the remaining minutes to add the drawer so we can navigate through two new pages that I'm going to use. Settings and templates. It will look like this, again, pulling up the paint, screenshot. The drawer will be on the left-hand side of our application. We will reuse it to route through templates and settings. The board will be collapsible at any point of time, and you will switch context depending on the selection. Right. How to do that? Excuse me, you already know. With the buttons, I'm not going to spend time on that. We have referenced everything already. What I'm going to do, of course, is create a new page, which is going to be called the drawer dot view here. I'll use the scripting and the templates, and maybe I'll have some time to play with the styles a little bit. Don't promise, but we'll see to do that. long story short, then after we import the drawer, and actually let's start doing that in order not to waste time, and then I'll switch and add it into the components DTS file and stuff. So starting with scripting. Okay. Yes. By the way, talking about TypeScript support, it doesn't matter if you're using Vue 2 or Vue 3. With Kendo UI, same is valid also with the composition API. So we got you fully covered. We got you fully covered here. Okay, so let me also add the pages here on the app level that we're going to create, and their indexes, the pages that the drawer will route between. So I'm going to add a page which will be called settings, right? And another one which is going to be called templates. Okay, and I need their index view files. That's why I'm just going to copy the one that is already there, and then I'll change it. So for the settings, I don't need any scripting at all. I'll just leave the template as it is. And this one, I'm going to call this settings, save, copy it to make sure it's copied, paste it into templates. And I'm going to change this to templates. This header on. Later on, we'll add a new component, app page header, and we'll wrap it around those pages, which will save you a lot of time and effort if you want to do some global styling changes throughout the entire application from today till it's ready. So remind me to do that, because I'm leaving it to the end of the presentation so far. Right. Okay, so talking about that, let me bring up how are we with time? We have a few minutes remaining. So let me bring up the drawer here so we can start scripting, importing, and templating the drawer. Right. Okay. So I'm going to import the drawer. When you import the drawer here, you need to import also the drawer content, right? From the layout package. So have this in mind. We have routing here, so we need to use the router, and we'll have a few scenarios when we need to use computed in order to navigate through the items of the drawers. That's why I'm importing this as well. Right. Since I have everything saved and imported, now again, just to make sure we are on the safe side, we need to go to the components, DTS, make sure the drawer is there. There it is. And no need to do anything in such case on the app view, apart from adding the drawer here, so it appears after the navbar. Right. Okay, good. I'll use the router for the time being, going back to my page. Yes, here. And the one that I'm going to show you, by the way, this little challenge for you is how we have built the template. And I'll do it like that. Okay. So you can see the templates of the drawer. Here I'm using 90% of the viewport height. We will see later on as we progress with the app if we are going to need to place some footer or not. These are the properties of the drawer, the expanded and the mode, which is push, and also the minimized version of the drawer. Again, you don't need to make sure to remember everything. The API is exposed here, and at any point of time, you can go to the drawer component from the demos and see, navigate where the properties are and see which exactly of the properties does what and what are the options that you need to use. All right, good. I'm going to stay here a little bit longer so you can see it one more time. And this is my other project. Sorry for that. So this is our real project. And you can see the template. Right. Okay. Now we need to make sure that the drawer can be expanded and collapsed when you click it. And let me show it in action here. So in order to do that, we need to add the corresponding methods and with the corresponding icons, which we'll have in our exercise right here. So I'm going to add this portion of the script. We're continuing to build the script. Right here you can see how we have declared the expanded and the expanded icon, and how we use the expanded value with the little chevron pointing on the left or on the right. Right, and now comes the most difficult part for you, which would be to populate the items within the drawer, right? Which are also part of the script. And let me zoom in and place the screen so you can see everything. Now, this is where we use the computed logic. And so we're going to navigate with the drawer through the pages that we have created and gave them the names of templates and settings. By default, we would reside on the boards, so we have absolutely no path here. We can select an icon for this board item. Then we have the templates with the corresponding icon, and then we have the settings with the little gear icon here that we are going to use. Right. So I'll leave you again with a few seconds to take a look at it up until we finish the function. And this piece of code now is not mine. It's Daniel's. So thank you for that, and thank you for adding this content to the project and to our component. This would make the drawer open the corresponding item that we have clicked. All right, so let's see what we have here. We have the drawer up and running already. Expand, collapse state, navigate through settings, templates and boards, and whatsoever. Now, the only thing that remains, and that would annoy me a little bit as a part of the Kendo UI team, is that I would prefer to highlight the corresponding item / page of the drawer when we select it. Right. So in order to do that, I'll declare selected ID somewhere in my script.
Hey, Peter.
Yes.
How's it coming? Are we about done with the two UI elements?
We are wrapping up. Actually, I am just reusing this selected ID, and we are going to highlight the different items in the drawer, and we are ready to move on forward.
Awesome.
With a thing, yeah.
Do you mind? Can we go ahead and do that off screen, and people can see the repo just after this, and then just make sure to push up for me.
I'll do it silently.
Awesome.
Do the pushes now, and you guys can take it over. Okay.
Yes. You
let me just
do those pushes. I'm gonna talk here for just a second while you do those pushes. So just to clarify for everyone in the audience, you can definitely see these commits, and you can definitely see what's happening in that repo, but you don't necessarily have to follow these steps exactly. Code your own app at the end of the day. Listen to this kind of in the background if you want, or follow along and do the same kind of things, but your code doesn't have to look exactly the same. The idea is to get inspiration for building your application. So just want to make that clear, guys, that you don't necessarily have to do all these exact same things. Okay. And so Peter, do we have the code pushed up? I was not.
I'm doing this at the moment.
Awesome.
Right. So it will be there with you any moment now.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Peter. So we have been pretty bold with this setup so far, haven't we?
Yeah.
These are exactly the kind of issues we thought would happen, but didn't know how they would. So
the risks of the live broadcast, but
that's
we're prepared, so no worries. Yeah. Okay.
That's right. But the good news, the good news for me, guys, is that we have figured out my streaming. Apparently, you should not visit StreamYard in Firefox. So shame on me. We're working on it with Chrome now, and everything is golden. So I should be able to help out our speakers and get things moving more smoothly now.